But first at noon, we're working the latest on Governor Chafee's budget proposal.
Any talk of taxes is painful in a time of recession, but we have to make our state solvent if we are to rebuild.
The governor announced his budget just last night in a statewide address seen here on WPRI 12.
He wants to reduce the current sales tax to 6%, but wants taxes on a lot more items, including movie and concert tickets, dry cleaning, and drugs.
And he's also calling for higher pension contributions from state unions, also an end to borrowing money for the state's road and infrastructure projects.
While his budget is aimed at cutting a huge projected deficit, the governor is also calling for more spending on education.
And he's actually going around the state today to try and sell that part of his proposal. Eyewitness News reporter Nathan Nwosu is live in Providence now with the latest with the Providence Mobile Newsroom.
Well, Danielle, Patrick, Governor Chafee was here at Paul Cuffe High School just a couple of hours ago, and while he is calling for more than $157 million in new taxes, he is also calling for the state to fully fund the new state education funding formula, which Governor Chafee says will be money well spent. Just 14 hours after giving his budget address, Governor Lincoln Chafee was out at Paul Cuffe High School in Providence, promoting the new funding formula for state education aid. Chafee's budget proposal calls for $1.1 billion for K-12 education next school year.
Our future depends on good schools. I firmly believe that, and this is just a first step in a long-term commitment to our schools.
State Education Commissioner Deborah Gist says Rhode Island was the only state in the country without a funding formula. Now, with an education funding formula, the state will consider the number of children enrolled in a city or town and the level of poverty before distributing money to school districts.
We have two districts right next to each other in Rhode Island that in the current way that funding is distributed, they are very similar in size, almost identical, similar community backgrounds, except that one has higher poverty, and the district with the lower poverty currently gets twice as much state aid. So our distribution of funding for schools was really inconsistent, not equitable.
Governor Chafee is also calling for $10 million in increased funding for higher education. Of course, all of this money has to come from somewhere, and his budget has to be approved by the General Assembly. We are live with the Providence Mobile Newsroom. I'm Nathan Nwosu, Eyewitness News.